South Korea's elite force, trained to deal with Kim Jong-un, should the opportunity arise. The last time South Korea is known to have plotted to assassinate the North Korean leadership, nothing went as planned. Now, as Kim's grandson, Kim Jong-un, accelerates his nuclear missile program, South Korea is again targeting the North's leadership. A day after North Korea conducted its sixth, and by far most powerful, nuclear test this month, the South Korean Defense Minister, Song Young-moo, told lawmakers in Seoul that a Special Forces Brigade defense officials described as a decapitation unit would be established by the end of the year. At the same time, the South's increasingly aggressive posture is meant to help push North Korea into accepting President Moon Jae-in's offer of talks. While Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has said the United States does not seek leadership change in North Korea, and the South Koreans say the new military tactics are meant to offset the North Korean threat, the capabilities they are building could be used preemptively. More from our source about South Korea's growing military efforts in the face of the North Korean threat. Moon has vowed to expand the defense budget to 2.9% of South Korea's gross domestic product during his term, from 2.4%, or $35.4 billion, as of this year. In a Twitter post last Tuesday, Trump said, "I am allowing Japan and South Korea to buy a substantially increased amount of highly sophisticated military equipment from the United States." South Korea has now introduced 3 arms buildup programs: Kill Chain, the Korea Air and Missile Defense Program, and the Korea Massive Punishment and Retaliation Initiative, which includes the Decapitation Unit. Under the Kill Chain program, South Korea aims to detect impending missile attacks from North Korea and launch preemptive strikes. In recent years, North Korea also has flight-tested missiles from submarines, which are tougher to detect. Trump's jealous ex-girlfriend just emerged with disgusting message for Melania on her shirt. The liberal mainstream media has been relentless with their attacks on President Trump, Melania, and even their son Barron. For months we have heard these rabid liberals screeching and calling Trump a racist and a bigot, but now they are focusing their attention on Melania. Just a few weeks ago, when President Trump and Melania visited the victims of Hurricane Harvey, a liberal fashion critic berated Melania for her choice of footwear. Joy Behar of The View mocked Melania last week on the air after DACA was reversed, saying that Trump only liked immigrants that he could marry. These hateful liberals have mocked Melania for her accent, her clothing choices, her modeling career, and now they are insinuating that she is also being held captive by President Trump. They have tried everything they can to try to destroy Trump, and it hasn't worked, so now they will try to rip apart his marriage. These people have no shame whatsoever and will stop at nothing, but Trump and Melania are much stronger than these liberals and their childish attacks. Artist who painted Obama's stomping Constitution just shocked with what he put in Trump's painting. Now, with a new commander-in-chief in the White House, the painter has made another presidential-themed portrait of President Donald Trump, and everyone immediately noticed one big difference upon its debut. The politically charged painting that artist John McNaughton created to represent Trump and what he expects to be his legacy, couldn't have been a bigger contrast to his predecessors. McNaughton's painting sums up Trump's success in just his first 8 months in office. McNaughton's painting of Donald Trump's presidency in contrast, Obama said that the Constitution has no meaning, and he has continuously ignored the laws within it. McNaughton released an accompanying YouTube screen share video for his painting. The video shows McNaughton painting the piece with a soundtrack that emulates a movie trailer. McNaughton explained his position behind the painting. Wake up! Here are 8 facts about the Civil War you probably didn't know. Fact number 1: it's true that many slave traders who brought blacks from Africa to America were also black. Fact number 2: African Americans fought on both sides during the war. Slaves were concentrated on the large plantations of about 10,000 big planters, on which 50 to 100 or more slaves worked. About 3,000 of these planters owned more than 100 slaves, but only 14 of them owned over 1,000 slaves. Fact number 4: of the 4 million slaves working in the South in 1860, about 1 million worked in homes or in industry, construction, mining, lumbering or transportation. Fact number 5: the Confederacy actually passed a law on March 13, 1865, that gave slaves their freedom if they fought for them. Okay, now what about those Confederate statues? Fact number 6: after the war, men from the North, called carpetbaggers, moved to the South. Gerardo Serrano is a revenge-seeking, lawful gun-owning, Kentucky Republican whose truck was illegally seized for the most ridiculous reason you can think of. The bullets found in his truck were lawfully owned because Serrano is a lawful gun owner. Customs seized Serrano's truck under so-called civil asset forfeiture, laws that allow agents to take property from citizens if they're merely suspected of a crime. The customs agents who seized Serrano's truck sounds like a law that can be easily abused. The Washington Post had more details on the incident and reported this. According to Serrano's lawsuit, as he tried to explain himself, one of the agents unlocked Serrano's door, unbuckled his seat belt, and yanked him out of the car. "You have no rights here." Serrano was arrested with no charges, locked in a cell with no food, his truck was taken, and now we're dealing with some crooked forces of the law. Serrano didn't have a gun on him or in his truck. Huge US is pushing for microchipping kids ASAP for disturbing reason. Do you support this? As a parent, the thought of your child be taken by a stranger is absolutely horrifying, and we would do anything to protect them. Would you go as far as to chip them? In a news report that ran on NBC, the idea of normalizing microchipping children for safety was broached. Here is more from our Daily Ideas. An NBC News report that promotes the microchipping of children asserts that it will happen sooner rather than later and that Americans will eventually accept the process as something just as normal as the barcode. Microchipping would be an extra layer of protection if something bad does happen. Rodriguez Neely goes on to explain how she has braved skepticism from members of the local Tampa Bay moms group, people like Carrie LeVay, who are wary about implanting their own children. The piece flips back to pushing the idea when it quotes electronics expert Stuart Lipoff, who asserts that microchipping children is safe and inevitable. NBC reporter Melanie Michael appears to agree, remarking that the size of the chip is very very small and that the expert tells us this will happen sooner rather than later. You can bet somewhere someone someday is going to pull this off and we could see those microchips in everyone, she adds. Of course, parents want to protect their children, but this seems to be going just a tad too far, and where does it end? A government that desires to place an electronic device into a person's body in order to track them is pretty terrifying. What happens if the government does not like where someone goes, and where is the information fed to? The reason that the government wants this to be implemented is in order to have control over the people, and that is it. When Barack Obama left office, he made a promise that he wasn't going away anytime soon, and it appears he wasn't joking. After President Trump took office, Obama has been doing all he can to undermine his presidency, including moving into a home just a few short miles away from the White House. Obama has also unleashed his loyal followers to protest and continue to create as much division as humanly possible across the country. In fact, it was discovered that Obama dumped massive amounts of money to the tune of $400 million towards violent anti-Trump groups on his way out the door, and that is just the beginning. Now, Barack and Michelle Obama have announced their next plan in destroying America that needs to be heard by everyone. When President Trump was elected, Conservatives and Republicans across the country breathed a sigh of relief. We all knew that if Hillary Clinton was elected as president, she would continue the same destructive policies of Barack Obama. Thankfully, that was not the case, and Hillary Clinton was beaten. However, that has not stopped Barack Obama from pushing his destructive agenda. Instead of Obama riding off into the sunset and enjoying retirement, he has been busy fanning the flames of division and doing his best to take Trump down. Earlier this year, Paul E. Sperry, a well-known right-wing author and political commentator, working as a political pundit for the Hoover Institution, a public policy think tank, made a stunning statement. In an article for the New York Post, Sperry wrote how Obama is doing what he can to protect his legacy and guide his troops to battle. Here is part of his article from New York Post. When former President Barack Obama said he was heartened by anti-Trump protests, he was sending a message of approval to his troops. Troops? Yes, Obama has an army of agitators, numbering more than 30,000, who will fight his Republican successor at every turn of his historic presidency. And Obama will command them from a bunker less than 2 miles from the White House. In what's shaping up to be a highly unusual post-presidency, Obama isn't just staying behind in Washington. He's working behind the scenes to set up what will effectively be a shadow government to not only protect his threatened legacy, but to sabotage the incoming administration and its popular America First agenda. He's doing it through a network of leftist nonprofits led by Organizing for Action. Normally you'd expect an organization set up to support a politician and his agenda to close up shop after that candidate leaves office, but not Obama's OFA. Rather, it's gearing up for battle, with a growing war chest and more than 250 offices across the country. Obama does not want to be out of office at all. In fact, many people wondered if Obama would try to run for a third term, remember? So, why would Obama now just take a back seat and watch all his hard work be flushed down the toilet? He won't, which is why he and Michelle have started the Obama Foundation, and this fall they have some big plans. Of course, that sounds rather cryptic, so Obama released a video that should clear up what they plan to do. Here is more from The Hill. Former President Barack Obama announced in a new video Wednesday that he will gather together civic leaders from around the world next month to take part in the inaugural Obama Foundation Summit. The summit in Chicago will allow young leaders to exchange ideas and learn from one another, Obama said in a video released Wednesday. We want to inspire and empower people to change the world, Obama says at the end of his video message. And we hope you'll be a part of it. The summit will take place in the city that will host Obama's presidential library and his presidential center. Obama left office in January and since then has seen President Trump take aim at many of his policies. Trump sought to repeal the Affordable Care Act, has pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement, and just last week started to wind down Obama's program allowing people who entered the country illegally as minors to remain and work here. Obama has spoken out against many of Trump's moves as they have happened. When he left office, Obama said in the video that he has asked people to believe not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. With the summit, Obama said he and his wife Michelle Obama want to hear directly from the future leaders we want to cultivate. And what makes me so hopeful, so optimistic, is that so many of you have shown up, dived in and embraced the kind of active citizenship that makes our democracy work, he said. It is clear that Barack and Michelle Obama are not going to away silently into the night. For the last 8 years, they have worked tirelessly to destroy the country and they're not ready to let go. We need to stay vigilant and continue to push back against these dangerous individuals and their plan to destroy the United States. Please be sure to share this story so that everyone can be aware of what these dangerous individuals are up to now. HT, Occupy Democrats. Malia is in serious trouble after what was just found out about her personal iPhone she lost. While Malia Obama is enjoying her privileged private education at Harvard, she has long since forgotten about the cell phone she somewhat recently lost. There's one thing that's come out about little Miss Malia long since that ruckus concert ended. Malia came into the Apple store to get her iPhone replaced, but things didn't go exactly as planned, a witness told Page 6. The Apple store couldn't immediately help her because she didn't have the Apple ID or the password for the missing phone, since the White House set it up. There's probably a way to lock that phone remotely in the event that it is found so that nobody can access your private files, but unless that's happened quickly after realizing the device was lost, whoever found it could have gotten what they wanted from it before Malia realized she didn't have it on her. According to TMZ, Malia was seen being hauled off in a golf cart after the concert festival. Malia has been raised with privilege and entitlement, and now that she's not a kid anymore, she's opened herself up to public scrutiny with her adult antics, despite what rules liberals claim about kids being off-limits, so long as they aren't President Trump's grandkids. So before people start griping about leaving the kids alone and letting Malia be a young adult who does stupid things, they should consider that double standard.